Welcome to Here for the Horses. Glad you're here for the horses. I don't have too much planned today. We're going to talk about some equine ear muscles and some face work, but we started chit-chatting about just maturity levels in horses. So one thing I want to show here is a cool video. So let me see. Share. No, it's a picture. Let's take a look at this. Can everyone see this? So this is called the stages of equine skeletal development. And I think this is what you were just saying, Leanne. Okay, if you look at the spine, it says that does not finish developing until 6 years old. Okay. And then so let's kind of go through what we got here. At birth, their coffin bones are developed. That's interesting. I didn't know that. 6 months, they're pasterns. So you guys know that that's equivalent to your middle finger, right? Okay, and then those splint bones have kind of gone up on a cannon bone and fused. Okay, and then cannon bone looks like 1 year, carpus and the hock 2 years. Okay, and then the bigger bones are going to be 3.5 years. Oh, the humerus is 3.5. That's interesting. So then your scapula and your pelvis and mandible, that's interesting, are 4 and 5 years. And then the spine is 6 years, takes 6 years. Okay. So it just kind of shows that these horses need more time than what we're giving them before we start them. And it is shown there's a fair amount of damage. So Wanda was just talking about arthritis is one thing. Arthritis is one thing that develops super early in horses that are started too young. There's actual like a fair amount of evidence that shows that horses, because of the way they're built, they're not actually meant to be ridden. Okay, so the argument is it's only the first 8 ribs that are fused, are true ribs. Okay, these are all called floating ribs. So weight back here is kind of hard on them. And obviously that's why it's important to be the correct weight for your horse. And they say you should be less than 20% of your horse with your tack. I'm always pushing the envelope on that. So I have to lean back on my my balance. I'm a pretty balanced rider. But you want to have a horse that's the right size for you. So you guys have heard me say that Chester's too small for me. He's definitely too small for me. So I'll put a couple rides on him just to make sure that he's as good as everybody says he is, because everybody says he's good, but you know how that goes. But yeah, but I can't keep him because he's too small. He needs a small person. He's a small person. So this is just an interesting skeleton, I think. And the other point that was being brought up is that there's just so much to do with horses before you start them under saddle. It's like we don't need to rush them. So all these competitions that have horses that are started really, really early. Race horses are started too early also, right? They have a lot of issues. They're just kind of discarded. They're kind of discarded when they're done. And, racetrack people say they're not discarded. They go to get home. It's like, sorry, they are discarded. They are, because they go to auction or when they're done kind of using them, right? Anytime horses are used for profit or anything like that, the quality of care goes down. And I've heard people say a lot, they're given the best food and they have the nicest barns and all this. And I go, that's what you think taking care of them is just feeding them and housing them. Like that's not care. And I know that everyone on here kind of knows that because we care about mental health, proper training, taking your time, just all around kind of not treat them like a method to make money, right? They definitely don't make us money. They might make some of you money, but mine don't make me any money. Okay. They're like little leeches of my money. Okay. So it's just kind of interesting. the mentality of different people when you can kind of pick them out pretty quick on who you're talking to. So when people start rattling off, you know, how much money a horse has made them, I'm kind of out of the conversation because I already know where it's going. It doesn't interest me. So here's some kind of info on their skeleton and how they mature. So you can see here the joints in the hock and the knees, 2 years old. So that's probably what Wanda was talking about with that arthritis kicking in. A lot of problems in the sacrum also, because the sacrum does not fuse till 5, I think. I think it fuses at 5.
So do you think that's why we're seeing so much kissing spine?
Kissing spine's crazy. There has to be a reason. Yeah, there
Right.
has to be a reason for it. And I thought it was mostly in thoroughbreds. But I've been hearing about it more in quarter horses now.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I just remembered that person's name. She has an awesome, it's something weird like Thera Hendricks. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? She does awesome videos. No, that's not right.
No, the other thing, the breeder we got Jubilee from said was that at 5 to 6, their spine, can now support weight. At 6, it's done. But from then, that's when their chest spread out after that. They get that
Oh, that's
big,
interesting.
earthy chest after that. So when you see a horse, like I look at Chester, how close his front legs are, that just shows me a young horse. He hasn't grown out his chest yet.
Yeah. He's so little. I call him a cute little man, but he's really small. What's that? What was that, Wanda?
Mute. Sorry, couldn't get unmuted. I found that website.
What is it?
And it is Thirza, THIRZA.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you.
HENDRIKS.com.
Yeah, she has great videos. Let me see if I can find
Yeah,
that.
she's
So
got
she
some
does
great-
dissections.
Can't make this show in here because my light's not very good, but yeah.
It's called Functional Horse Training by Thurza.
Yep.
Yeah. She does dissections, so she's cool because she holds on to skeletons and stuff, which I think is awesome. Okay. This one's cool. I would definitely like to take one of her courses for sure. Let me see if I can find that video. Just remember, while I'm scrolling for this, that next Sunday's live at 5 is not going to be live at 5, right? We're doing the fitness. Is that the 24th? Yeah. So I'm having a fitness woman who teaches physical fitness, but she specializes in equine equestrians. She's going to be with us. We're going to talk a little bit about some core exercises and great exercises that we can do to strengthen our seat and to also have better balance. Okay. So it's called Stronger in the Saddle. And then she's going to go through a workout with us. So that should be really fun. So join us for that. That's going to be instead of the live at 5. So just mark your calendars. It's going to be at 2 o'clock my time. So I don't know what time that is for you guys. All right. I can't find that post, but her stuff's really cool. I'll show her site really quick. Here it is. Here it is. Thurza. And then here's her website. But she does cool stuff like this, right? We always like to see this stuff. There's a floating rib. Oh, she paints on horses too. She probably does a better job than I do. Yep, she sure does. I'm working on it. Oh, missed it. So she has a really cool video out that shows the spine, shows the skeleton, and you can see the cracks in it, where the cracks go and all that stuff. So it's really fun. So I would check her out. Carrie, you had said you're getting a young Arabian between January and March. Would it be too soon? I would do a year's worth of groundwork and ponying, like Wanda said, do some ground driving, do some massage. And then if you want to, sack them out, okay, sack them out, put a saddle on them, turn them out, do a whole bunch of stuff before riding. Because Arabians especially, that's a small breed and they just don't mature very quickly. I think there is a difference between breeds too. When breeds mature. Okay, because your quarter horses seem to do a little bit better. They'll get more mature faster. Arabians, those suckers take a long time. Saddlebreds, they take a long time. Yeah. And then standardbreds and thoroughbreds are similar. So I think I started, when did I start my standardbred? How old was he? 4. Don't wait till 10 like I did on Georgia though. That's too old. No, it's fine. It's fine. I was like, I'm just making sure she's mature. Who knows? I don't know how old she is. It was a situation. Endurance bred, yeah. So they can be, the endurance bred can be anything. They can be, those old Polish Arabs, those were some hardy stock. They had the big old ribs. Little Chester, I don't know what he is. He's like a little snowflake stock, I guess, something like that. No, they try to make them real pretty, and you guys, the other day, he was running like a beautiful gazelle through the pasture, floating. And then he tripped and he did a somersault and then he got back up. And I thought, you're a goober, man. You're a goober. And then he gets up like, it's fine. And then he trots off again. And I was like, man, come on. So that's not the first horse I've seen do a somersault either. So that's kind of crazy. Okay. Any questions from this week? Any questions from this week? Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I was working like a dog this week, so I got some good videos coming out.
Well,
Okay.
I did what you suggested with her legs. Last
Okay.
week you suggested to massage them, and then I was watching some of your videos about the face and how that horse that you have on the video where you're saying really smart horses and really, she was acting exactly like my Lily. like don't do that, don't do that. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I bet this is why she's struggling with, because she is very, stoic and holds all her stuff and she's very smart. And so I was massaging her face and trying to do the ear thing. And thank you for giving me more information about that, because I was doing the best I can. My horse is so huge that when I try to hold her, I get this, it's like this much. That's the base of her ear. And so she didn't want me to do it at all. She's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this. And I said, no, we're going to do this. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need this. And I'm like, yes, we're going to do this. And then so then I was rubbing because I couldn't grab it, right? I was squeezing the front and squeezing the back and then squeezing, and then I was like rubbing around on, because there felt like this really tight part. So I was like rubbing on that. And then she had the biggest, like, she just kept yawning and yawning and yawning. And,
way.
she shook her head at, like, did the whole release. And then she's like, ah, she was just like yawning so crazy.
Wow.
And then she let me do her feet.
No.
She let me do her back feet. And then I gave her her reward. I let her eat her stuff, and she let me do her front feet.
No way.
So I did it again today, and she let me do 3 of her feet before I had to bribe her with the food.
Yeah.
So she let me do her back feet and 1 of her front feet without being bribed. She was like, okay. And then I had to bribe her with her final foot. She was like, yeah, you got to make it worth my while a
Tapped
little
out.
bit more than this. So yeah, but
Wow,
it
that's
really is
cool.
working. So I was really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And then today, after all of that, she went and just took a nap, just laid down and took a nap.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my
Very calm.
God. Yeah, I was, because this horse has been kind of traumatized for the past July, because I moved her to a different boarding place, and it was not a good place. It was not a good fit for her. And then I moved her again in October, and she actually fell inside the trailer as she was being transported, and she got stuck. She couldn't get back up again.
Gosh, dang it.
And so thankfully, she's always trusted me to help her out of those situations. Because when we arrived, I found her stuck, and she just let me unstick her. And then I showed her, no, you
Mhm.
can get up. So I think she definitely has some residual tension and feelings about all of that. like like so thank you so much. It was definitely super. I'm just gonna keep doing it. She and just do more. It's just really hard. She's so big. I'm like, I need
Yeah, and
it's a workout for me.
when they don't like stuff, like I don't ever tell people to get on a stool when you're working on the head, because they'll whip their head around too much and you'll go flying. So like you kind of have to work your way up there. I'm pretty tall, so I get away with it. But
Well, her
yeah,
withers are 5'6".
okay.
So
And she's
she,
draft, right? She's a
yeah.
draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she's
they know the exact height of their owners, because it's funny, because they'll get into this habit of just lifting their head up out of the owner's reach, and it's always so funny, and I wish I could get it on camera. When I'm working with them, I'm generally 4 inches taller than most people, and so they'll go to do that, but I'll still be attached to them, and they kind of go, wait, she's still on me. And their face, when they're so shocked that I can still reach them up there, is really funny to me, because they have this like puzzled look, like this normally knocks my mom off me, but you're still hanging on.
yeah.
So it's so funny how smart they are.
Yes. So thank you so much.
Um,
I can't wait to watch more of your stuff and learn more, because
well, what's great is that comment actually motivated my subject for this evening. So sit tight, because we gonna get rolling. So that I found, I had a lot of people watch that video, the video she's talking about. So the first thing I want to do right now is let's watch it. And then we're going to, talk about what we see. So let me get it pulled up here. If I know some of you have already watched it, but that's all right. We'll watch it again. Oh, it's not on this one. Hold on. So this is the one I just put up. This horse's name is Rowan, and she is, I've been working on her for a long time. So I'm going to give you a little background on little Miss Rowan here. This is going to be one of my stories stories from the field. When I first met her, I had just been studying the book about fascia. And in that book, I think it's called Is Your Horse 100%? The woman says trauma is stored in the fascia of the face. Now, I do not know how you prove that or know that. I don't know. So I was just like, okay, I'll make a mental note of that, but I don't know how you prove it. So she has a lot of different things that you can do to work on the fascia of the face, which I have kind of turned into my own style, which is what I teach you guys. But I met this little mare and I walked in and she just reminded me of a tough mare, right? Your typical tough mare. I can't remember what her issues were, but she was stoic. She wasn't super interested in me and she was a little pushy. Okay. So I first started working on her and she had an accident somewhere. I think it was in a trailer. I think it was in a trailer and it was a pretty bad one. It traumatized the owner a lot. And so I go, oh, okay, there's probably some trauma, right? And it was fresh in my brain. So I thought, oh, trauma in the face. So I was telling the owner this and I go, I'm going to start on her face because according to some people, trauma is stored in the fascia of the face. So let's see what we find. And I start rubbing this mare's face and she doesn't like it, right? She doesn't like it. But I warmed up all that fascia. Everything was tight. Her eyes were tight, her mouth is tight, her little ears were tight. So I warmed everything up on her face and she pulled her head away from me and she started sneezing. And she doesn't sneeze like softly like a lady. She sneezes like a man out on a construction field, okay? She sneezes like she's trying to get an evil spirit out of her. And she did it for like it felt like 5 minutes. It was probably 2 minutes where she sneezed nonstop. Just crazy. And so I looked at the owner and I was like, trauma's stored in the face. I still don't know. It could be anything. I don't know. I can't say that. I can't say it's trauma, right? But I mean, Chester's got trauma stored in his legs, right? So so my interest in that was, does this come back? Okay. I want to know if it comes back. So I had a schedule and both of us were just standing back and letting her sneeze. And both of us were in awe. It was wild. It was wild how long she sneezed for and just violently. So then I go back and I start working on her face again. And she licked and chewed 2 or 3 times. I gave her another break, nothing. No sneezing, nothing. So then I worked on it again, no release at all. Okay. So got it out for that day. Then I continued on with the massage. Then I come back the next month and I'm like, is she going to have that same reaction in her face or is it gone? Nothing. She had nothing in her face. So it was gone. Okay. And then you'll see the video that I'm going to show now. But she's never had that response again, ever, that she sneezed so wildly like that. So it's kind of cool that 1, there was definitely something there. 2, it was wild how much it was bothering her. And then 3, it was gone and hasn't come back to that level, which is awesome. All right, so let's watch that video real quick. Oh, here it is. Finding tension. This is Rowan.
Voicing her displeasure. So Rowan likes to store tension in her face. As you can tell, she's already voicing her displeasure with my hand on her face. Oh, look at the chomping and anger. Yeah, for me. So most of her tension, no matter where it is in her body, goes shooting up to her face and gets stored up here. So I like to start on her face because we get this tension out. And then we have smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. But if you don't address the tension in her face first, the massage is not as fun for anyone involved, right, Rowan? For anyone involved. There we go. It's better. There we go. Okay, so this is why you have your hand on the halter at all times. Kind of lock this arm in place, but have your hand so that it's moved and they don't feel like they're claustrophobic, but you are going to protect your face. Okay? There we go. Atta girl. Up around the ears. Breathe while you're doing this. Don't be tense or anything like that. She's like, it's no problem. Oh. She says, I'm gonna need you to let go of my ear now. No. She's quite good motivated and there's little scraps of old felt. Okay, let's do that again, because I'm pretty sure I didn't get it all out. This is a very intelligent mare, so she plays the game of, oh, I'm going to pretend there's no tension there, and then it shows up if you don't fall for it. So know your horse. Sometimes test them by holding it a little longer than, there we go. A little longer than you think you need to. See? Them smart ones, I tell ya. That's tension. Them smart ones, them smart ones. It's always the pretty girls. There we go. Notice her head placement now. There's the difference. And then when you let go of the ear, they should not rip their head away. Okay, so that's another sign that they're faking you out, is when they rip their head away. You're going to be just focused on that. Oh, there you go. There's the release from it. She's like, give me that alfalfa. Toro. Huh? No, it's fine. She can deal with that. Yeah, she can deal with it.
That was the
Okay.
owner asking if she should pick up those little scraps of alfalfa.
When it becomes really obvious with certain horses, it's pretty easy to find once you know them. There we go. That's good. Okay, switch sides. Same thing over here. Doesn't feel necessarily tight, but then it shows up and there's tension. There we go. That's tension. So I'm squeezing the base of the ear. I know that a lot of people teach to go up the ear. I don't do that because the tension is held down here. You can do that if you want to. I don't. There's also an acupressure point at the tip of the ear that some people like to work on. It's fine. That's why you hold on to the halter. There we go. There's the release from it. There's the release from it. So now, there you go.
Okay. So feel free to unmute. And let me know what there was a bunch of stuff in there we could talk about. We could talk about 6 or 7 different subjects from that video. So what was interesting to you?
I think the biggest thing that was interesting to me is that she really was resistive. You know, she really didn't want you to do it. And that felt good for me because then I knew I wasn't doing it wrong. Like when my horse behaved in the same manner where she's like trying to shake me off and, you know, and then that release at the end just is so validating that and so I think for me that was my biggest was like, oh, thank God. Like, because oftentimes you see videos and the horse is like participating and they want
Oh yeah.
to, and she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And you're like, and it was so that was really good. Um, and then her nose like screwed up, right? Her whole face, her whole side. And my Lily does that too, where she like her whole face gets like stuck over like that, you know? And then at the end, you could see that it had, it had not it had relaxed. So that's really cool too to see. So, and the shape.
Yeah. Yeah. So those of you who have been with me for a while, what do I call that when you know they don't like it? What do I normally say? I have a saying I say after that.
They'll thank you later.
They go, thank you later. They can thank you later. They're not going to thank you right then.
I think
They
the
can thank
other
you later.
thing that was good to watch, like when you have a horse that's somewhat resistant, my horses aren't always, but they have their times. And Buckaroo, the last couple weeks, has been very resistant with me on his face. And I think the important takeaway was that you have to stay with it. You can't just, because you were on that ear a long time.
Yeah, and what I was saying there is that they'll do this. They're like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Let me fake her out. And they'll do it until they're like, crap, she's still there. And then they go, I hate this so much. And then they go, oh. Okay. So there are certain fakers. I mean, Georgia does it. Like certain horses will really fake you out a lot, and then some just don't really fake you out at all. Right? So you gotta kind of know who you're working on. And if you don't know, hold it for longer and see what happens. Because they don't hold out for too long, right? But just go longer than just like sometimes we let go too soon because we're used to training, right? So training is the moment they do it, you're like, oh, you're timing, boom, let them go. That's how they learn. But this is massage. This isn't training, okay? So it's a little different. You can hold it for longer. And same with when your horse starts releasing, you don't need to stop. You don't need to stop. You can keep going. What if they start yawning? Yeah, you can keep going. You're not going to ruin it. So we get a little bit crossed, our wires a little crossed on that because we've been kind of ingrained that, if they're learning something and they got it right, then go ahead and stop. But this is massage. They're not learning, they're just feeling and they're enjoying and their body is responding. So you don't always need to stop. And you can give them breaks, but make sure the breaks are more so that they can focus on how they're feeling and less on like, well, I want to reward them. Like you are the reward. Like massage is the reward. So you don't need to reward them. They're good. Okay. I mean, people go, do you want to give them? I mean, I don't say this because I'm not trying to be cocky, but people go, do you want to give them a treat? I'm like, I am the treat. Like I'm the treat. Horses stop eating grain when I come in. I'm the treat. That's when you're like, oh, I got them now. They ain't gonna eat their grain while I'm here because they want me instead. That's freaking cool, man. Like you've made some differences in that horse's life when they're gonna pick you over other stuff and they're not even your horse. That's awesome. So I don't give treats when I'm massaging.
Well, Noki will do that. He'll resist.
Mhm.
And then when you let go, he'll do his stuff and then he comes back like, well, keep
Yeah.
doing it, please. You know?
Yes.
But each of them wait every day and won't leave their stall until they've had some sort of massage.
That's just a little massage.
They have to have it every time.
Yep, we've done that. Yeah, awesome. What else did you guys notice?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. On my rescue mare, she is a little rude with her head when I was trying to release her face like you were doing last week. And she actually like will move me with her head, like bop me with it and push me over. So do I stay stubborn and do it anyway, or do I work on other parts and then come back to it, or what?
Yeah, you'll kind of have to decide what you want to do. So if you know how I always have the halter here.
Yeah.
So if they get really rude, I'll take my hand away and pop them. So
Okay.
it's like, stop doing that. Or I'll do it like twice. stop doing that. And I say it in my mom voice and they normally go, okay, fine. They won't
Okay.
do it anymore. But if it continues to escalate, you have to go somewhere else.
Okay. That's
So
good to know.
you really have to read, that was another point I was gonna, thank you. You have to read the horse. So I call it take them to the edge, but don't go over the edge.
Okay.
So I'll take them to the edge, and this is when they don't like something, but I know they need it. Okay, I'm going to take you to the edge. And if they can maintain being at the edge, and I know that I'm not going to go any, so like, let's say the ears are tight. Okay, they don't like their ears touched. I come in, I go around the ear, I gently squeeze it, and they're like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. I'm not going to squeeze harder, right?
Right.
Because they're already on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're starting to pop up in the front, I'm gonna go, okay, it's too far. I gotta back off. Okay. So then I'll bring it down and scratch around here, bring it down, and then I'll slide back around and go again and see if it's any better. But you have to, when you take them to the edge, you can't, if they keep escalating, you have to back off. So if you have to back off and go somewhere else, do that. But if you can keep them at the edge and not go over, you will generally get them to release.
Okay, I will do that. But she has like an indentation mark by her jugular on the side of her neck that has like a divot in it. And I think it's from when she had her blood drawn, probably a little bit roughly. It's like a big old scab, hard mark, and almost like a hole right next to it. And I'm kind of wondering if that's where some of the pain is coming from in her face.
When was her blood drawn?
Well, she was the kill lot horse, so she went to Billings, Montana, end of October, and then she was at kill lot having it done again right before I brought her home. So I don't know which
Okay.
time.
So that has for sure healed by now. You can rub
Yes.
that.
Oh yeah,
Rub
it's
that,
just
rub that,
hard.
rub that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So rub that. Does she have a negative reaction when you touch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She don't want me touching her neck or her face.
Okay. I want to see a picture of it.
Okay.
And then I kind of want to see where it's at.
Okay.
And I might have, because there's a lot of those dents in the neck, and normally that's from them either getting kicked when they're young or in the womb, or a whole bunch of different ideas about it. So you'll see those a lot of time. They call them like something thumbprint.
I can
Cross-
mostly feel it. It's not.
thumbprint.
I can see it if her neck is bent a certain way. Otherwise, it's a feel.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a little damage, but that would be pretty wild. Well, yeah. A lot of stuff happens at those lots, man. They're just
I
like
know.
herded like cattle. So,
Yeah. right.
yeah, but do some videotapes of it and we can go over it.
Okay.
It's always good to kind of learn stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't let them bully me too much, but I'm also not trying to have an accident or a wreck with
Right.
horses. So you got to kind of play it by ear.
Okay.
And I mean, you can start on her hind end and work forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing wrong with that. I've done that with horses, and that has been the key to winning them over.
Well, when I first got her, she was releasing all over the place when I was working on her pole. But you go to
Okay.
touch, but you go to grab her face or do anything on her face, she's like, "No, ma'am." And then
Okay.
the more you try to hold, the more she tries to butt you and push you away.
Yeah. So that is why it's important to have that kind of fist,
Yeah.
like this, because that will stop them from that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm pretty firm with it. So a lot of times I find that sometimes people are too passive, especially when going to pick up feet.
Right.
They try to do it too soft, and the horse goes, do you have my foot or not? Like
Yeah.
either, hold it or don't hold it. What are you going to support me in this situation or not? And so that could be something similar where you got to be like, no, I got a hold of you, you're good. And then when you're doing the face work, do a little bit and then stop.
Okay.
So don't overwhelm her.
Okay.
Don't wait for her. Don't wait for her to release. Just like rub, stop, back off.
Okay.
And then try again.
Okay.
You got to win her over somehow. We'll
Yep.
figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool video. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. You know, holding the halter is really important. Don't hold the lead rope because they have all this movement under that lead rope, but the halter, they don't have a lot. That saved me multiple times from getting bonked on the head or hit or anything like that. Okay. Anything else real quick? All right, let me show you a video, no, a photo. We're going to talk about, I thought it was interesting because I got a lot of comments on that video about the face. And so I was like, I'm going to look up the face real quick and I want to show some photos of why the face, here we go, face and ears. Okay. Okay, so I thought this was interesting. Look at all these muscles. First of all, look at all these muscles. There's this long one, okay? There's these that kind of move the muzzle. Look, there's that one that moves the nostrils, okay? So look at all these muscles around the mouth. So cool. Muscles under the muzzle. All right, the big old masseter. So as you can see on here, those sausages are normally like right in here, right? Okay. The eye muscles, those are kind of cool. And then the other video I wanted to show, hold on, is, that's not it. That's not it. Let me see. Oh my gosh, please get out of the way. Please. Okay, download. This one is cool. So this is where I wanted to talk about the ears. Look at all the muscles. So this is one you can actually feel. If you go to put your thumb right here at the base of the ear and you press up, you'll feel this muscle. This is one of the ones that gets tight a lot. Okay. So your thumb goes to the base of the ear and you press straight up. You're going to feel this muscle and you'll see it kind of go down their neck. Also, if you go a little bit in front of that right here, and you press up on this muscle, if that's tight, it will like make their eye go, oh, 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 oh. Okay. So those are kind of cool. I believe there are 10 muscles for the ears that make them move at 180 degrees. So that's pretty cool. You got this guy going back here, which obviously pulls that ear backward. Okay. This one is probably your don't mess with me muscle right here, right? The angry mare muscle. So that one's kind of fun. And then there's one on the inside that attaches to the center also, okay? So you have your really alert ears, you have your loose floppy ears, you have your front, and then you have your back, okay? So you can spend some time, Candace, you could spend some time just like trying to find out which muscle irritates them. You know, specifically, is it this one going down the face? Is it around the eyes?
I think it's the one that is in the front, right in the front. It's and
or this one.
Yeah, it's like it's very tight, feels like a rope.
Oh yeah.
When I touch it, it feels like it's a rope in her face right there.
Yeah. There's also kind of a funny piece of cartilage up in here too, but that feels like cartilage. It doesn't feel like it's a muscle or a rope.
Okay. Yeah, so that's good. I love that picture though, because I saw that picture after I messed with her today. So I'm very visual, so I'll be able to take that picture in my head and go out tomorrow and mess with those ears some more. She'll love it.
She's gonna love it. So this is another reason why I like to, after, as I say, you squeeze and then you can kind of do some circles. So what are the circles going to tell you? Well, if you go to do a circle, but this muscle is tight, it's obviously not going to go into the center, right? So if you go to do a circle and the ear won't go forward, then obviously these muscles back here are tight. So it's the same thing as anytime I ask you guys to do something. If there's resistance, what is resisting? So if you're doing circles on the ears, you're going to find out what's resisting. It's either, a lot of times it's the one that's on the very center attaching to the pole. Okay. So you can kind of like maneuver the ear around a little bit to get those to relax. And then the very last piece of that is I like you to take the ear and gently pull it up off their head. Okay. So just take it and gently pull it up off their head. That's going to release them all. Okay. And you can get a lot of relief from that. But you do have to kind of pull it, it's not this thing where you just gently do that. That might be soothing or relaxing, but you're not doing anything with the muscles there, right? So I know that that's taught a lot, to make sure that you can touch your horse's ears, but we're not trying to touch the horse's ears. We're trying to get tension out of their ears. So we need to do more than that. We need to hold them and then lift them up off their head or like maneuver them so we're actually stretching the muscles that are tight.
And I think it's really interesting because that's one of the things she has always loved is having her ears scratched. She likes me putting my hand, like literally my whole hand, in her ear and like scratching it. So I think that correlation between her having so much tension in her ears, because remember you were telling me in the video, there was another video where you were like, look at, he has been rubbing his own neck.
Yeah, that was Salvador.
And there was that mark on him. She has also rubbed her mane gone in one section of her neck. So I've been massaging that area too. She really liked that today though. She was like, oh, she was a fan of that. But I just think it's interesting that her ears are so itchy. And that may be the cause of it. And she doesn't know that me holding on is going to give her the relief, not the itching. So I think that's pretty cool, that correlation there.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting when you start figuring stuff out. And then, this is interesting also. And remember all these different photos and stuff, they are all interpretations of people, right? So this one looks a little different. I mean, it's similar, right? They do the best they can, but they're a little bit different. Okay. So this, these glands here, these can get swollen sometimes. So you might see that on your horse. So remember that. But, look at how important all the muscles that go into the muzzle are and the nose. I think that's so cool. The ears. Eyes have a fair amount. That's why you can rub around their eyes. They love that masseter rubbed. Okay. Forehead rubbed. And then another thing that I was looking up. So here's an actual horse. And they did, see if I can put this in the. So this is my book I really like. This is an actual, this book. Okay.
I think
So
you need
this
to
one-
stop sharing
that?
your screen. I think you need to stop
Oh.
sharing your screen so you're bigger,
Oh, sure.
because
There we go.
that's microscopic.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so this is the book I'm looking at. It's super cool. But it's actual horses that have they've done autopsies on. So here's kind of a cool photo. You can see the muscles there. Okay, so those are those same muscles that they were showing in the diagram. And then you can see the fascia. Isn't that cool? So that fascia is what we're loosening up a lot of the time, right? Okay. And then when you take another layer off here, here's an awesome photo. Okay. Look at all those muscles. So you can really, that's why you'll see me sometimes. I'm just like kind of poking around, like I'm looking for the actual spot. And I talk about that. You can find the actual spot, especially on the legs. Okay, on the legs, there'll be like it would be just like a tiny little spot on the legs. That's like, oh, that little tiny spot is tight. Okay, and look at all the fascia up here. Okay, because we talk about warming that up, right? So that's kind of cool. And then if you take off another layer, oh yeah, taking off all those. This is an even deeper view of it. Okay, so that's all muscle there. That's moving the mouth. Mouth is very important. That's how they're so precise with those little lips of theirs. Right? So I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, all that space, all those muscles, all that fascia in their face, you know, holds a lot of tension. So if you can get that out, it makes a big difference in their life. So I like to work on the face. I mean, I like to kind of open the door. If they hate it, then I don't do that. But the face is a great way to make them feel better.
I can ask you a question. Noki just loves being rubbed right above his upper lip, right on the flat part. He just in between the nostrils. What is there anything there? Or is that just something goofy?
Interesting. I don't think they have that view. I mean, there has to be something there, right? Because they do that funny thing with their lips. Oh yeah, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have that view. Scratch it.
He loves that spot, and then just around the nostrils and the mouth.
Yeah. It's funny how, yeah, there's no view of that. Now they all have their own little spots. You know, you'd never know unless you were looking around trying to find it half the time. You know? All right. Anything else going on? That's what I got today. I just thought it'd be cool to kind of look at the actual muscles in the face, how incredible it is, their ears, how they can move all their ears around. They got a lot of muscles up there, and we got to manipulate them a little bit more to get them to release.
I just wanted to share that I started watching your videos and stuff because I've been playing around doing a little bit of endurance with my daughter-in-law's horse. He's a saddlebred. He was a show horse before she got him, and they wanted to just, obviously he was too emotional, and they just said, I want to send him out and see if he would be any good for endurance. Well, he's tremendously forward. A lot of it is because he's so emotional. When he's away from his herd, particularly if I ride him out from home, I usually have to get off and walk him back home because he gets so panicky about my herd's over there and I have to get there right now. So he's the one that started me on massage because he will come up and push his head into me and say, rub it, you know, and so I've been learning a little bit, but the thing about the ears last week, he likes it if I stick my thumb way down inside of his ear and just kind of rub and pull and stuff, but I was able to get better releases by doing more of the around it and lifting it and stuff like that. And then he likes it, oh, thank you. And he turns around and walks back off and goes to eating, but he loves up on his back, and he's the one that almost sat on me when I rubbed his hips the other day. So he's very, very expressive horse. And when I was telling one of the volunteers at the last ride I did that I massage him because he's just always telling me this, no, rub here, do that. And so she's the one that gave me your name. And
Oh,
so it's been
cool.
really fun to learn more, get more of the anatomy down, because I'm a physical therapist assistant, so I do it all day long on people.
Great.
And so when the horse is tight, I can feel it and work on it there. So it's definitely interesting because I have 8 horses here to work on. So
Whew.
gives me lots of practice.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much they can tell you. You know, I just put that video up of that one you were referring to, Sonador the stallion. He was stoic when I first met him. So stoic. He wouldn't say anything. And he came from Spain, and so they don't like their horses saying anything, to be honest with you. The few that I've dealt with that have come directly from there, they're like, no, you know, stand, don't talk. At least the couple I've dealt with. But he has come out of his shell. It's still his personality, right? But he definitely, I think I put up a video of lateral flexion or something I was doing on him. And oh yeah, I was working on his legs, but he tells me a whole bunch of stuff now, and it's still real mild, right? Like a gentleman, but he definitely says everything he likes. And I can walk into his stall and tell if he's feeling good or not, because he gets kind of like this when he doesn't feel good. So back, you know, at where he was raised, this was fine. They didn't care as long as he didn't move or be a problem. Well, to me, I don't like that. That's not nice for me. So I find the spot, and then I get that to go away, and then he's happy and relaxed and kind of gives me little thank yous here and there. So it's super sweet. Yeah, you'll have, with 8 horses, you have them all. I'm sure you got every personality in that herd, so you could learn a ton.
Yeah,
Definitely.
my daughter's mare is a little paint quarter horse, and she's real stoic. Get away from me, I'm fine. And I've found her a few spots, and she's doing wonderful. Being very sweet now about it. And then yeah, there's just lots of them. I have a Mustang Arabian that I've had for 2 years, and he bucks, and he's just I'll stand here because I know I'm supposed to, but I'm starting to get him. I think he finally, after being so afraid of me being behind him and things like that, working up over his glutes and stuff, he finally, one day when the other horses weren't pasturing us, turned around and presented his rump to me, which is the first time in 2 years that he finally said, oh, I kind of like this. Let's work on it. So
yes,
I feel like that's good. I'm still trying to figure out where he hurts at so that we can help him through it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Georgia obviously was wild when I got her, and she most certainly didn't want anyone going behind her, and I certainly didn't want to go behind her either. But every time you would walk behind her, she would go here and then pick you up immediately on the other side. She was like, always had an eye on you. And I was like, man, you know, if you're around horses that are broke for a long time, you don't even notice that they don't do that. And then you get around a horse that's always like got an eye on you and like kind of moves away when you get close. It is a different ball game. So it's really fun to watch those horses come out of their shells and relax and take a deep breath and have a different life. It's super fun. All right, well, I'll keep kicking up some videos this week. I am going to start putting up some of my, like, I'll put up like half massages on the coaching community group so that you guys can watch like a little bit longer stuff if you want to. But keep putting your videos up, Nancy. I got 2 in the queue for you. I'm going to be doing a voiceover on, and then we'll just keep doing it. And Carrie, yes, we're going to be starting over Journey Through the Horse in January. So that'll be fun. It's going to be exciting to go through it again. Just because we're always learning, we're always getting better, you know, working on more horses and stuff like that. Okay. So that's the plan. Candace, you should try to get in on that if you can. It'll be fun. All right. Thanks, guys. That's all I got for you. Bye. Have a good week.